Hey everyone, this is Ryan from AGJ coming to you again this week with another tech tip. Actually, this week's tips are on time management apps, applications that you can use to get the most out of your time. I'd like to start off wishing everybody a happy Easter. This upcoming weekend is Easter, so happy Easter. Also, a big thank you to everyone that came to our Windows XP memorial service last week. We had a great event and a good turnout, so thank you. If you're still using Windows XP, time to upgrade, so give us a call. So let's jump right on into the week's apps. So one of the things that we caught ourselves around here saying quite a bit, I know I did, was, man, I need more time. I don't have enough time. Well, then I kind of stepped back and realized I have the same amount of time that Warren Buffett has. I have the same amount of time that Bill Gates had. I have the same amount of time today that I did 10 years ago, that I did 20 years ago. So time is not really my problem. It's managing the time that I have. So one of the first steps is finding out, what am I doing with the time that I have? There's a great website called rescuetime.com. You can download their free program. It runs on your computer and it tracks what you do on your PC all day, and it just tracks it for you. It's not sending this to anyone else. For example, the first week I ran it, I realized I'm in my email almost 20 hours a week. That is ridiculous. I'm a professional email responder. That should not be my job. So it kind of puts things like that in perspective. You can find out, am I being productive? Am I being unproductive? Are you spending time on Facebook? Hopefully not. Are you in QuickBooks all day? Are you in certain other websites? Are you in Outlook? It really helps you find out where you are. Once you realize that you're in email maybe way too long, the next app can help with that. It's called SameBox, S-A-N-E-B-O-X. I believe it's about $5 a month. I've been using it for a year and a half. Great results. I really like it. I couldn't imagine checking email now without it. What SameBox does, it adds 2 new folders to your Outlook, to your email. One's called Sane Later and one's called Sane Black Hole. What it does, any message that comes to your inbox that you never want to receive again, you just manually drag it over to Sane Black Hole and drop it. And forevermore, it makes sure that you don't get emails from that email address. Very cool if you want to block somebody or even something like a newsletter that you don't want to receive anymore. But the second folder is the most important, Sane Later. It's where the magic really happens. It filters messages that come into your inbox, and it uses some intelligence in the background to determine what's important and what's not. It moves the important items into your inbox. It moves the least urgent or the less important items into the Sane Later folder. They're still there. They're not in your junk. They're not in your deleted items. It's just a different holding spot. It's really worked well for me sorting out what's important versus what's urgent and vice versa. So I was getting about 300 messages a day. Now I get about 50 a day into my inbox. The rest are dumped into Sane Later, which I can kind of peruse when I have more time, knowing that those aren't quite as urgent as the items that have hit my inbox. So check it out. It's a great program called SameBox. The next tip is about focus. So say you've got this time, you're learning to recoup some time that you've had. How do you make sure you're spending that time effectively? Well, all the studies are telling us that humans do not multitask well. It just can't be done. You need to work on one thing at a time until you can either stop working on it or finish it. So how do you do that? Well, there's a tool called the Pomodoro Technique, P-O-M-O-D-O-R-O. It was developed back in the 80s. Pomodoro is Italian for tomato, because some of the first guys that used this actually used kitchen timers shaped like a tomato. Their theory was they'd set the timer and they would focus on one thing at a time until the timer went off. Then they would switch tasks. It's kind of like a way to do multitasking without really multitasking. So the app you can download to your phone, it's called the Pomodoro app. It's got a 25-minute timer followed by a 5-minute break. So you can start the Pomodoro, work on one thing. When the 25-minute ends, it'll beep, let you know, gives you a 5-minute break. Then you come back and you can either continue working on that task or start on another task. There's been some tests done that shows that most people focus in 25-minute blocks very well. You don't lose your attention in that period of time. So it's worked out to be very effective. When you get really good, you can even predict how long something's going to take in Pomodoros. For example, hey, that project should take me 4 Pomodoros. So check it out. There's a book written on it. I've given you kind of the overall highlights of the Pomodoro Technique. But if you want to learn more, you can also read the book. The next thing, something we've learned around here, it's about being effective versus just being efficient. I mentioned earlier there's 300 emails a day I was getting in my Outlook. Well, efficiency would tell me I just need to figure out how to get through those faster. But being effective would tell me maybe I don't need to be going through some of those at all. So I can do certain things to make sure, like the Sane Black Hole box, that I don't get some emails ever. Or maybe I can delegate some things to other people. There's a rule called the Pareto principle. You may have heard it called the 80-20 rule. That tells us that 20% of our work gives us 80% of our results. So start looking at that and trying to figure out, what can I do to get the most amount of work from the least amount of effort. I'm not saying you want to be lazy, but you just want to be effective. Not just efficient, but effective. The last thing we'll talk about today is planning. Plan today what you'll do tomorrow. Make a list. By doing that, you make sure the most important things are done that day. You're not just in a firefighting mode, you're actually making sure you knock out the most important things first. There's a great app for that. It's called Remember the Milk. It is the best to-do list we've ever used, and we've used a bunch of them. It syncs with everything. It works on any mobile phone, iPads, computers, Outlook. It works on just about everything. It's called Remember the Milk. There's a free version and a paid version. They both work well. So check out Remember the Milk. It's one of the best to-do list apps that we've seen. It'll help you focus, and you can get your tomorrow plan today. So thank you very much. Good luck with your time management, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.